this is Jill with stampwithjill.com, and today we are going to make this adorable buffalo plaid llama card, and we are going to color him ever so slightly with some Copic markers, and we are also going to make this adorable matching little llama treat holder. So let's go ahead and get started. I have the No Prob-llama Stamp Set and matching die set for the cards. I have the mini pillow box die, which I don't have the package for that right now handy, but I have some stamps, some black ink. I have a handful of markers, which I will put on the blog later so you can see the exact colors, and some pre-cut and pre-stamped stuff to get us started. And we are going to learn how to make buffalo plaid ribbon today. This is not a new technique. I take no credit for it, but I forgot all about it, so I thought I would remind you today in today's video. So let's go ahead and make the card first. So I'm going to move everything out of the way. So I have a piece of oatmeal cookie cardstock, and it's 4 1/4 by 11, and it's scored at 5 1/2. So we're just going to fold that in half. And then I have some teeny tiny pieces of buffalo plaid. This is Cozy Winter Prints paper, and I have a tiny piece here, and it's cut to 4 1/4 by about 1/2 inch. But the buffalo plaid is kind of big, so when you cut your strip, just make sure you cut on this line so you get a little bit of the pattern and not just this part. So, because it's tiny, it's only about 1/2 inch. So we are going to go ahead and put this right on the end of the card. And then I also have this little tiny 1/4 inch of black, just black licorice cardstock, and it's 4 1/4 by 1/4 inch. So it is super tiny. And we're going to go ahead and put that on the front. But if you saw in the sample, there is a Falala embossing folder to go with the llama stamp set. So I've seen a lot of different things with llama puns, and I went with Lots of Love since there isn't a Christmas one, but you could always put Merry Christmas on the top. And I went with Falala because it kind of goes with the llama. So what I've done is I pre-did this embossing folder. And hopefully if I bring it up a little bit, you can see how cute it is. But honestly, any Christmas embossing folder would go make this really cute. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to tape this on. And this is 4 by 4 3/4. It's a little bit shorter than a full card front because I wanted to make sure that we had room for the paper at the bottom. So you can see there's a little bit of a gap. And then we are going to go ahead and tape on the paper. Alright, so there we go for this. And I have this the full length of the card, not just 4 inches. Sometimes I only do it to the size of the panel in the front. So you can see it went over a little bit, so I'm just going to trim that edge off because we won't need it. So I must have cut it just a smidge bigger. Alright, so now we have that, and we just have to add this tiny little strip, which since it's so small, we are going to put that on with some liquid glue. And what I have handy is this mono liquid glue, which is my favorite paper glue. I also like the Journey Craft glue too, but for some reason I really like this one, but of course it's not going to come out because I'm on screen. So I need to find my little paper piercer, but you're also going to need a Sharpie for this project as well. Alright, so let me grab my paper piercer. It's a good thing my stamp room is messy, so you want to just get this little glob of glue off, and then it should, there it goes. It's starting to come out now. There's a bigger glob because I kind of left it open on my table, probably for like 2 days, but anyway, moving on. So we're going to go ahead and put this on, and I think I need to trim the edges too, but this dries really quick. So in like 5 or 10 seconds, it's pretty, I mean, it will still move maybe a little bit, but then you can see we have a little bit of an edge. But for the most part, it's dry now. All right, so there we have that. We'll trim that off. This side seems to be okay. And now we're ready for llama and stamping. All right, so I'm gonna move that away. All right, so I just brought in I pre-cut a bunch of pieces of paper to 4 by 5 1/4, and I use them for stamping and I use them for lining the insides of the cards. So there's multi-purpose uses here. But we are going to need 2 llamas. I already have this guy mounted up on my block, and I have some black licorice ink. So we are going to ink this guy up. Now, when you ink him up, he's pretty sensitive. Sensitive meaning if you get ink on the middle of there, at least on the way this one is, it's going to make a big smudge in your stamping. So be careful when you ink this guy up. He's kind of cute. So there, and sometimes I kind of miss the feet, but we need 2. So you kind of get 2 shots because I have him a little bit, his head and neck popped up. So there we go. We have the second one all stamped up. Hopefully I'm still in the screen. All right, so here we go. So you can see I got no ink on the middle. When I was making some of the extra pieces, my ink pad must have been a little extra juicy because I have more than one black ink pad, and it was getting smudges. So just be careful with that. Okay, so now we have 2 of these. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and die cut those. And here's the die I used. It comes in the matching coordinating die set. There's dies for the glasses, the suitcase, the hats, and the scarves. But for this one, we're just die cutting the 2 llamas. All right, so I'm gonna move these aside because I've already pre-cut those. All right, so now we have the 2 llamas. Here's one, and here's the other. So you can see that one of my feet was not so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the head out here, and I'm just going to use my scissors and cut off the basically the body. So I'm going to just cut here around it so we can pop him up and give him a little bit of dimension. So, and then you can throw the rest of that away. So if you do mess one up, you only need the head for the second llama. So there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to color this little guy, and we also have to stamp the sentiment. So when I cut my paper, I save these strips. They're a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by whatever scrap. If you have cut 4 by 5 1/4 pieces, you know this is the size of the scrap that usually goes in the trash. So I save these because they're perfect for these skinny little sentiments. So we're going to stamp that too here. There we go. And that's lots of love with extra L's to match the llama. All right, so we're going to set that aside. All right, so back to coloring. What I have for the body is W1, which is warm gray, and W3, which is also warm gray. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an outline around the edge of the llama's head. And you don't have to color the llama's head on the second one because this is going to cover it up. So this is the slightly darker warm gray and a little bit around his mouth. So this is W3. Okay, then we've got, oops, I forgot to do the body. So let's go back and do the body and the feet. Again, nothing real fancy, not real neat, just kind of an outline around the edges. I mean, llamas are fuzzy, so they don't have to be colored perfectly. So there we go. Do a little bit more down here. So the reason why I didn't do it perfectly is because we are going to use the lighter marker, which is, I want to make sure I get the pointy tip. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to go in and blend it a little bit. And then it kind of takes that hard edge off. And you're just going to go around like that on the ear. And then the same thing on the body around here is you're going to go around the edge and then kind of into the body. All right, and then I forgot there was one other marker, which is called the Colorless Blender, and I used that to kind of soften even the middle colors. I forgot the bottom there. So then you're just going to go in and do this. Now, if you could leave it like this and be done, but I'm going to grab the Colorless Blender. But first, I have a little bit of skin tone for his mouth here. And I have pink for his ears, because this just takes a second. And so here is the Colorless Blender. It's 0. It came in one of my kits. I don't use it too often. I heard you're supposed to use it to like mess up your mistakes, but it kind of helps blend these harder edges. And it goes on a little bit wet, but then it dries clear. And it kind of softens any of these hard lines. I'm sure you could go over them. Like I said, I'm no expert colorer here. I just kind of wing it and try to make the best project. So you can see when this dries, the lines will be a little bit softer. Alrighty, so that just leaves putting this little guy together. And I have some foam squares, so we're just gonna go ahead and put those on. Hopefully you are seeing everything in screen, because I forgot to check. All right, and then we are going to just line this up like that, and now he has a little bit of dimension. So the next thing that we need to do is to trim the sentiment, which we are just going to flag the end like that. And I just cut it with my hand like that. That's ready to go. Now, I did forget to color the one for the package, but that's okay. We'll go back and do that real quick. It takes like seconds. All right, so now we are ready to go, except the black gingham ribbon is not buffalo check. So we are gonna make this buffalo check, and I have here lipstick red for the marker, and I have a piece of scrap white paper. Nothing fancy, and you literally are going to put this on your paper because this will bleed through, and you are going to color your ribbon with your alcohol marker. Now, this part is not new, but I forgot about it, so I thought I would share it with you. So I also found a reason for the broad tip, because it colors them really fast. So you just really have to draw a line. It does not take very long at all. And then the buffalo plaid matches your card. Now, it does make the ribbon a smidge crunchy, but not really. So, all right, so you can see it bleeds through on the paper. So if you're coloring it like on your table, it's a little harder to get it off. So I'm just gonna trim this off. This is trash, you can throw it away. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna tie it around his neck and make it work. So I literally just tie this in a knot. So you can see I just folded it over, and believe it or not, the marker is almost dry. It's pretty quick. So I kind of want this cute little flat knot that you get. So what you're gonna do, like I could leave it like this, but it'd probably come apart. So I'm gonna pull it a little tighter, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna make a second loop like that. And then what you do is you hold this right hand piece and just pull the left one, and you get that flat knot. If you pull both, it's not gonna be as flat. So you can see how that made that flat because I only really pulled on this one. Now, I don't want the bow going this way either, so we're just gonna manipulate this a little bit. And sometimes you have to play with it to get it to go in the right direction, but my knot's not gonna be as flat as my sample because I played with it some more, but it doesn't matter. All right, I'm just gonna loosen this and fix it up a little bit. So this goes like this. All right, so now we are ready to put this on the card. Now, there's a little trick to getting the scarf to look like it's blowing. So for now, I'm gonna leave it, and we're gonna put this on with some foam squares. And I'm gonna peel the backs off so he's ready to stick. So then he's just going to go right in the center, and I want him a little bit grounded on that buffalo plaid so he looks like he's standing on something. And then what you're going to do is you can use little glue dots and kind of position these into place. So I'm just going to use a tiny, tiny bit of adhesive for you, and you can put a little wrinkle in your scarf too, so it really looks like it's blowing. But there you go. So now the scarf is blowing. Didn't want to stick, so I think on my sample I used some glue dots. And then you're going to want to trim these so they're not square and they look like a real scarf. So scarves are kind of square, but I thought that looked kind of fun when it was trimmed like that. And then we're just going to put this on. And since this is a 1/2 inch, it's just the right size for the adhesive, and it goes right on the end like that. Okay, so there you have the card. Now, I always like to line the insides of my card, and then you could put Merry Christmas on the inside and sign your name, put a picture. You could add a little piece of designer buffalo plaid paper on the bottom so it matches. I'm just going to go with plain white for the inside. Okay, so that takes care of the card. Now we're going to make this adorable little mini pillow box, and I mean this guy is mini. So I took the card front size piece of designer paper. So if you have extra designer paper, these little mini pillow boxes make great stocking stuffers and great little candies to go with your Christmas cards. This die is tiny. It fits on a card front size piece of designer paper. So here's how I cut it. And then this is what it looks like when it comes out of the platinum machine. And you don't need to save the frame. So all you're going to do is you're going to fold on the score lines like this. And then there's these curved ones, and I just kind of run my finger around them because you can't really fold on a curve. But you want to break the fibers in the paper so when you pop the box together, it goes together. So there we have that. I'm just literally finding that little crease from the die and just breaking the fold. So this box goes together in seconds. So I am going to use my liquid glue because it is a box. And we are going to close that up like that and hold it for about 10 seconds because that's all you need. And so this little guy is tiny. I mean, this is a regular size pen. You can see how small it is. It's about 2 inches by 3 inches, so little tiny thing. It holds 2 pieces of candy. It could hold, all right, so now that this is dry, I got a little glue on my finger, but we are going to pop it up like this, and we are going to pop the one without the notch first, and then the one with the notch second. And then we are going to go like this and squeeze that. And it holds 2 Hershey Nuggets perfectly. It will also hold some Hershey Kisses. It will not hold a mini Hershey's unless it's that really mini one because it's too long. So we're going to pop this down like this and like that. Now, you could leave it totally like this. They don't fall out. The person actually has to open it. But I would really like to tie it with a piece of colored ribbon like this, and then you just pop the circled, I punched it with 1 3/4 inch circle, and I tied it with some ribbon, like just like this in a knot. So I'm just gonna trim this. We'll finish it off real quick because it really does just take a little bit of time. Thought I pre-colored one of these for the boxes, but not seeing it on my table. Pretty handy, so we'll just quickly color another one. And it really doesn't take long to color this. But it really is cute when it matches the buffalo plaid, and it automatically goes through on the other side. It's not getting all over my fingers, but it is getting all over the paper. So another use for your alcohol markers. It's making a little bit of noise, but all right, there we go. We're colored. So I'm just going to tie this. I tied it on the right. You can tie it on the left. It doesn't matter. Just gives it a little bit more of a package feel. So what you're going to do is you're going to make the knot, and you're just going to hold it with your finger right there, and you are going to just tie it again. And then whichever one is on the right hand side, you are going to hold in place and pull the other one. Well, that one didn't work so good, but I don't really care if my knot is flat, but it does work really good on a card. All right, so there we have that. We are going to just trim this like that so it matches. This little guy, we're going to color him real quick, and then I just kind of slide this up a little so it's in the middle, and I put the foam squares on each side. And I think this just is the cutest little gift. So let's go ahead and color this little punch out. Okay, so again, this is 1 3/4 inch punch. And he's just stamped on there and quickly colored. Now, there is one thing I did forget, and that was giving this little llama some eyes. He doesn't need a lot, but he does need a little bit. So you just kind of want to soften those edges. We'll quick add the pink. I'm using the wrong tip, but it's all right, doesn't matter. And then a little skin color here, so it looks like he has a beard. And then a little bit colorless blender to kind of soften up some of the lines and move some of the color around. Okay, so that is all ready to be stuck on there. And there you have it. So here is the one we just made and the little sample. And isn't that so cute to leave on a friend's desk who you're going to give as a Christmas card? You can add a little tiny piece of chocolate, and sometimes chocolate can get really expensive, so just having a little box that holds 2 pieces makes it awfully affordable. All right, so thanks for joining me today. Have a great day.